cool. Yeah, looking good over there. You have such big shoulders.
Yeah.
All right.
I am a Crusader monk.
Yes. The new class. You guys probably missed it. The new class announced at Blizzcon.
Sure, typing with this
kind of hard to
video.
type.
Yeah, I won't wear these.
What is this?
Herp.
Ha! His Pip-Boy.
Oh, it's adorable. Reminds me of the iPhone watch that was buttons on like
yeah, like all sewn together.
Square. Yeah.
That's pretty fantastic. Oh, our poor little. I gotta take this computer apart and dust it out. Sounds like it's making some. It's complaining a little bit.
Feels so cool.
You could do. I had to figure out the angle. Like it's a little bit higher for me. My shoulders are wider, but it was like the higher these went, like that's pretty good. Like, but the higher it goes, the more anime it is.
Yeah, and the more you can't.
Like this.
Yeah.
Until you're a Gundam.
That's.
Or until you earmuffs.
Very nice. All right.
Cool. We're gonna get started in just a few minutes here, you guys. But welcome to the show. Welcome. You know what? I think I want to get a soda, so I'm gonna go do that.
Okay.
Oh, I gotta open.
Hi, chat.
I want this open.
Got a bunch of our regulars in the chat. Missed you guys.
There it is.
Seems like last week you still had fun without us, though. They don't even need us anymore.
Yeah, I know.
We have so many stories about BlizzCon we'll tell, and then we'll answer all your questions. As soon as Bill gets his soda. Hi, Phoenix Revival and Developing Cosplay. And Monk, and it's Kiwi. Ah, everyone's here. Oh, I missed you guys. I did. But BlizzCon was a lot of fun. It was nice because we weren't there. Bill wasn't a guest there, so we didn't have any obligation stuff we had to do. So it was a good time. And I'm sitting on a stool so Bill won't look short next to me. It's all a lie. If you want to get your questions in early, you can put them in should be a little grid icon in the upper right if you're watching this through the Google Hangout. Click on that. There should be a little Q&A icon. Click on that. And then you can type in a question and hit submit, and it will pop up for us to answer during the show. So think of your questions now, or enter them now, and we'll get to them eventually.
3D printer is 3D printing still. Very exciting. We're printing something. I wonder if... I'll bring this up real quick, see if people can guess. You're ready to go live in another minute. Okay, so here's what I have, guys. In the chat, try and guess what it is. That's what we're 3D printing. See if anyone can guess what it is. I'll leave it up there for just another few seconds.
The hint will be it's very topical.
Yes, it is very topical. So guess in the chat, guess what that is. This is the 3D print mystery build that the tested guys do.
Yeah.
All right, that's all you get. Stuck with our faces now. Well, there's hot glue everywhere. Probably from my costume.
Part of that was me. That was the hot glue station.
Yep. I would love to have an actual hot glue station, not my desk.
Yep.
Someday.
Next move. Next shop.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
You
And
have any
bio
guesses?
here.
Oh, cool. Any guesses in the chat?
They're like a little bit behind
They're
us.
a little behind.
Yeah. Developing cosplay says, Pip-Boy! You are in the right universe.
It's too much of a hint.
What?
Too much of a hint.
Well, they're gonna see it eventually.
I know. In a couple days.
Yeah.
It's something that people are going to email me about a lot because they want one.
A Fallout nuke.
No, not a nuke.
It is not that.
All right, we are ready to get started. You ready, Britt?
I'm ready.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Prop Live. Ba-da-da! Yay! This week you've got me and Brittany because we are fresh off of BlizzCon and we are too lazy to get a guest. So
we
are.
didn't want to give a guest short notice.
No,
is what it is.
Or we woke up today and we're like, hey, we're doing Prop Live today. Oh, we didn't get a guest.
Yes, that happens.
Yeah, actually, so last week we were at BlizzCon, which was amazing, and we didn't do a show. We forgot to tell you guys we weren't going to do a show, but you guys, a whole bunch of you still showed up in the chat anyway. Someone tweeted me a picture of the chat, and that warms my heart.
I'm glad you guys had fun.
That was really great. Cool. So BlizzCon was awesome, right? We got a bunch of stuff.
Yes, we did.
You want to show us? Oh, the swag bags they had this year were really incredible. Yeah.
An inflatable Protoss blade.
That's right. So if you want to be a Protoss zealot, then you're halfway there, basically.
Yes. Each bag only had one, so Bill stole mine and had two and was running around with these. We went through the store line and got a little. We were pretty good. We didn't buy very much, but Bill had to get this little Nova figurine because it has the ghost rifle that is similar to the one that he made.
Yep. Oh, I don't know if it's going to focus or
it's fine. You can see the silhouette.
Yeah. Before we go any further on that, we have to tell you guys to go do something.
Yes.
So everyone who's watching right now, go over to punishedprops.com/live. Ta-da! And you'll see a thing there to join to do a little giveaway. And you've only got 15 minutes to join. What we have to give away. All of the BlizzCon swag came in these messenger bags.
Yeah, that was really awesome. So you didn't have like a little plastic bag. They gave you a real bag. It's very nice.
Yes. So we have a couple of these. We are lousy with messenger bags. So we figured a really great way to reward you guys for showing up today would be to do a giveaway. So go over to punishedprops.com/live and enter to win. All you have to do is answer a question, your favorite Blizzard game, and you'll be entered to win that. We didn't announce the giveaway or anything earlier. We just wanted to have it for you guys, especially you guys that show up every week. A little bit of a giveaway for you. So it's there. So go over to punishedprops.com/live and join the giveaway, and we will announce that in about 10 more minutes. A couple more things. We had some more, like these little guys here in the swag bag.
Yeah, there was a little random box thing. So you got a skin from a Heroes of the Storm character.
But we're keeping these.
Yeah, so that's the ETC, and then we have the Rainier, the one we all call Captain America Rainier.
Yeah,
they're adorable.
And they also had the Protoss Pylon lamp USB charger. And if any of you have been following my work for a long time, you know I made a Protoss Pylon lamp like 5 years ago. And now they make an official product that you can go buy. It's like $40. I think it's really cool. I'm sentimental. I'm personally tied to that. But it lights up. It's got 2 USB ports. I have it on my nightstand for charging my phone.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes. Also, in other BlizzCon news, there's some really cool stuff coming out of there, including a new video from Sneaky Zebra, as they say it. Oh my god! And we have an ad, so I can't show you. But we are in it, which is cool. We're in there. I'm not gonna tell you what. It's a surprise.
Yeah, they did a really good job grabbing a lot of the cosplayers. There's so many cosplayers at BlizzCon. It's really hard to find them all. Some of them only put the costume on for like 5 minutes and take it off until the costume contest. So they did a great job just grabbing some shots of like nice close-up shots and cool, slightly slow motion stuff.
Yes, they did.
And it's awesome. And that was the winner of the costume contest right there. His costume is made entirely out of leather.
Yeah, he smelled fantastic.
Tooled leather. Yeah, and he smelled amazing. Yeah, so definitely check out that video.
Yes. We'll link it in the chat, but there will be a link in the show notes as well. So there's that. There's a whole bunch of stuff to throw at you guys today.
Yes.
We got to shoot some photos with some people. Our buddy Martin Wong was there. He took a bunch of photos. If you look up Martin Wong photography on Facebook, you'll see he had a really great album full of photos from BlizzCon. That's worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, and he didn't just take pictures of cosplayers. He kind of captured the whole experience. You see some of the statues and some of the environment inside. So yeah, it was really good.
Yep.
And
there we go.
Ta-da!
Yay. There's those guys. Hooray.
Yeah, for those who didn't know, we made Diablo costumes.
We did.
Surprise!
Yeah. We made them really fast. Like the last time we had a prop live, I had just started it. I think the axe was done, but I hadn't started this costume that Brittany's wearing here. So we cranked out those costumes really fast for BlizzCon. But I'm pretty stoked. Pretty stoked with how they turned out. We had a ton of fun playing with other cosplayers there. Yeah.
Yeah. This axe is awesome.
The axe was a star. It's durable. I sort of it's coated in latex. It's sealed with latex, and I sort of put the durability to the test. I did not baby this thing. I just jammed it in my luggage. I threw it around. I dropped it on the concrete a whole bunch. I was spinning around with it, and it uncorked because it comes apart.
I know where it comes apart.
Just pull. Just there. You got it. Keep going.
I don't want to break your awesome.
It comes apart. I was spinning around, and it uncorked. Here you go. And flew on the pavement and was totally fine.
Dual wield.
Yes, so that's one of the reasons why I like latex so much for sealing my foam armor.
I feel like a badass in this Crusader armor.
Yeah, you do.
It's awesome.
What else? While we were down in LA, we went to our buddy Evil Ted's shop. If you watch this show at all, then you know Evil Ted is the man. He knows everything about foam fabrication. We got to go check out his shop. And I shot a quick video with him, just a Q&A thing. He did a Q&A video with me and vice versa. So if you head to our channel, you can see me asking him questions. And if you go to his channel, you can see the same, only opposite.
It was neat checking out Ted's shop.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in the film industry for, like, I don't know, many years.
Very long
and
time.
He has lots of fun random things he's collected.
Yeah, it's got so much cool stuff.
Yeah, from like different props from different movies and prosthetics and stuff. It was sweet.
Oh yes. Then what else here? We've got the 3D printing video series. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, Prop 3D is our new video series. We have 2 episodes out. We have 3 more coming. We have a thing printing right now. For the next one, it's a little bit of a surprise, but if you check out my Instagram, I put a picture of it earlier today. So
yeah, our third 3D printing video will be showing how to finish and mold.
Yeah, we'll do some silicone molding. Yeah. We'll do a 2-part mold.
Yeah. So the first video was just about like printing something and painting it, so just like a one-off. And the second video is about using other finishes besides paint. We use aluminum tape.
Yes.
Which is pretty awesome.
Oh, developing cosplays, pointing out that the video we did with Ted was called Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, this third video will be great because now we're going to show people how to make copies of their 3D print. So it'll be good.
That is correct.
I'm excited.
Checking out we have a bunch of people. We have 6 minutes left on the giveaway. Again, punishprops.com/live to join the giveaway for the Blizzard swag bag, messenger bag from BlizzCon right there.
Yeah, for those who just tuned in, I know Avatar just jumped in. Head on over to punishprops.com/live. There's a giveaway. Have a chance to win one of our bags.
Cool. That is roughly about it for everything we have from BlizzCon. It's still kind of coming off that high. So many cool friends and people and video game stuff and costumes. It was a little overwhelming. But I can't wait to go back next year if they have it.
Yes.
It turns out they may be doing some renovation to the convention center. We'll see how it goes. But I want to go back. I want to go back already.
I know. It's a magical place.
All right. We're going to jump into questions. If you just tuned in live, you can go to the Q&A app if you're watching on the event page for the Google Hangout. There's a Q&A app there. You can submit your questions. And but until then, we have some questions from earlier today that we're going to answer. So we'll jump into those right now for a little while before we do the giveaway. All right. This first one's from Lee. I believe we ran into Lee at BlizzCon.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to say hi. I didn't realize I was chatting with someone else, and Bill's like, "Oh, it was Lee."
Yeah, I got to chat with him very briefly, but it was cool to see him. He says, "Now that I've completed my first EVA foam armor, what is a good skill to sort of transition to for my next costume that uses some of the same techniques with foam, but with different materials? I've dabbled in casting and Worbla before, but mostly just experimenting. I'd like my next costume to have some non-100% EVA foam elements." I might say consider looking into doing pepakura and finishing it with like fiberglass and Bondo, something like an Iron Man suit. A lot of people have done it that way. Mm-hmm. The pepakura, similar kind of techniques to putting foam together. But if you want it to be more rigid, if you want to have more control over the detail and the finishing work on it, if you want to invest in some more tools and materials, then going from pepakura to fiberglass and finishing that way can be a really great way to go.
It's a good way to get used to forms and 3D space. Like you can just Google search Iron Man pepakura helmet, and there's probably one you can find. And when you print out, put it together, you can get a better understanding for how most space helmets work. So yeah, it's super handy.
For those wondering about the giveaway, if the thing isn't loading, just reload the page. If you can't see it, there's still a couple minutes left on it. I also don't know if the giveaway is set up for international or not. I think it should be.
Yeah, I think automatically.
Yeah, I don't know. Just refresh the page if it doesn't load the frame. It should be
fine.
Yeah. All right, there you go, Lee. Up your game. I'm glad to see he's interested in trying out new techniques instead of just sticking with one thing.
Becoming a mixed media jack of all trades for the cosplay world is
right.
It's a way to be.
All right. This next one here comes from Joseph. Joseph says, are there alternative methods to applying latex other than putting Super 77 spray down beforehand? That's what Ted likes to do. Mm-hmm. He says, I fear the clumps from the adhesive will still be visible. Have you tried FlexBond? We haven't tried FlexBond yet. We still have to get some. That comes up very frequently. I didn't put any adhesive. This is not coated in latex, but the axe is. And I did not put any adhesive down on the foam first. However, you don't have to use 77. You could use Barge, and you can brush it, get some thinner. So it's a contact cement and a thinner, so you can brush it on, and that way you make sure you don't get any clumps or anything.
Yeah, I know. I think Frank Ippolito will use adhesive as well if it's something not a non-grabby surface, so like a smooth plastic. Yeah. But with foam, it's already porous.
Right.
I mean, you can, like my Vex armor, if I wanted to, I could peel the latex off if I tried. Yeah. And I wonder if the adhesive would help with that. But it's
right. But you don't necessarily have to put the adhesive down. It's only if it's good, if you're worried that it might peel off.
Yeah.
And what I found is for armor, if you can get the latex on both sides, so on the surface you want to coat, and then around the edge of the armor, so on like this surface here, and then around the bottom of it, by like an inch or so you have some rubber on the bottom too. You can cut a nice clean line in between the rubber and the foam, and then overlap a strip of something with contact cement, and that'll keep the rubber from peeling off. I did not do that on Lord Shax, and now I know. Let's see here. Thank you. That was Joseph. Thank you, Joseph. The giveaway is almost done. and then we can whoop, and then we can do the giveaway.
Oh, don't worry.
It says 9 years left.
Shipping to New Zealand's fine, wherever we end up with. We've shipped books to almost, I think, every country now at this point. We've had a book go to China, had quite a few books go to Australia.
Well, 12 seconds left to join, and then we'll do the giveaway. Hooray!
We'll want to wait a little bit after it closes because of the lag.
We will want to wait a little
bit.
Let's grab another question. So this one comes in from Matt, a local Seattle guy. He says, have you cut plastics like Sintra on a scroll saw? The blade melts the plastic and brings it back into the kerf, and when it solidifies, it glues the piece back together. You have to break it apart. Have you experienced this, and have you found a workaround? Why, yes, I have, Matt. I am very glad you asked that question. I have my scroll saw right here. This has been my workhorse for years. I love that thing.
I like how anything could be over there, and you just point off screen.
It's totally right here.
It's totally right there.
Yes, there's a really great solution for that. You need to lubricate the blade, and a great way to do that is with packing tape. Get a piece of packing tape, put it on the top and the bottom of your sheet of Sintra, and believe it or not, the adhesive from this will lubricate the blade as you cut it out. You still kind of want to go slow. What I'll do is I'll cut a little bit at a time, just like chop, chop, chop. I don't push it through. That's what causes the heat. And then the melting that comes after the heat. But yeah, use some packing tape on the top and bottom of your sheet of Sintra, and then cut it out with your scroll saw, and you will be a happier person for it. Yeah.
What about like acrylic? Would that work for that too?
It'll probably help with acrylic too, or styrene. Mm-hmm. I will say the bandsaw is actually better suited for all that sort of stuff because the blade doesn't oscillate, because it continues through. It doesn't heat up quite like the scroll saw does, although sometimes you got to use the scroll saw. Mm-hmm. So I've had less of a problem with that since we got, well, 2 bandsaws. So there you go. All right, the giveaway is done. Yay! And we will go pick a winner.
There's 4 years left on it.
4 years remaining. It's over. Hooray. All right, let's go over there and pick a winner.
So exciting.
Pick a winner. And a random winner. Our winner is Jasper.
Yay! Hooray! That is Phoenix Revival in the chat, I believe.
Phoenix Revival, congratulations. You get yourself a fancy pants bag from BlizzCon. Hooray!
That's awesome.
Congratulations. I have your email address right here, so I'll email you to get your information and send that out to you soon. Very soon. And, all right, cool. Let's grab another question. That was fun.
That was fun.
I like doing giveaways.
We need more stuff.
We will. We actually got some stuff from Monk that we can do as a giveaway here pretty soon.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Teaser there.
Looks like Jasper's pretty stoked.
Thanks, Monk, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, this one comes from Ashton. How do you airbrush those dark details around the edges of those lifted details? Oh, that's great. We have an example right here. That's a great question. So I'll walk you through the entire painting process of these shoulders. First of all, I did not seal this. I didn't have a lot of time. So what I did was I brushed a couple layers of Barge over all the surfaces that were going to get paint. And that worked out pretty well. Like there's definitely a brush, a bristle caught in there. It just kind of happens. I was in a hurry. I did it really fast. But the great thing is the Barge sets up really fast, and it's still kind of tacky. And then whatever paint you put on top of that is going to adhere a lot better. So I did that, a couple layers, and then I sprayed on a layer of acrylic paint. I used my Critter sprayer. I put some, I mixed up a little bit of blue and a little bit of silver, acrylic leather paints, the Angelus leather paints, and I sprayed on all of the armor to get the base coat of color. And then for this gold trim, I used, I used my airbrush, and I thinned up some gold acrylic paint. It was Tamiya paint. I did some tests. That was the only one with enough pigment to cover in one go. I didn't want to have to do a couple layers of it.
Yeah, and we didn't have any other gold paint. The Angelus ones we didn't have.
Yeah, we had some other crummy stuff. In fact, the store was all out.
Yes.
So I airbrushed all of these parts with the gold, and there was some overlap. It got onto other areas in the crevices, but I went back over with like black and brown acrylic paints, again in that airbrush, to do the dark areas, these occluded areas in here. And that covered up anywhere that the gold kind of got all over the blue. And then I put some silver and light blue in my airbrush, again, to do a lot of the highlights. So anywhere it's like a shiny highlight part on the is totally fake. It's totally just a lighter metallic paint on top of it.
It looks great in pictures and video, though. It really helps
it always looks shiny, even though it's a matte finish. When I was done with it, the whole thing got sprayed down with a matte spray varnish to seal it. Again, it was fast. That was the fastest way to get it all done. I did all the painting on this in a day.
I do like with the airbrush, too, the paint goes on very thin.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did the same thing with my bracers for the dark spots. And like I put a little bit of paint in the hopper of the airbrush, and it went over the whole. I mean, I only had like 6 pieces of armor, but still, I didn't need to refill it. So if it like a thinner layer would flex better, I'm guessing, instead of a thicker layer.
It doesn't matter too much with the Angelus paints; they flex really well.
Okay.
But with the airbrush, like with the dual action one, you can pull back and spray more paint, or just take it easy and only do a little bit at a time. So a little, especially if you're using paints that have a lot of pigment, like the Tamiya ones, a little bit goes a very long way.
Jackie Craft is here.
Hooray!
Jackie, definitely check out Sneaky Zebra's BlizzCon cosplay video on their page, because your mace is featured.
Yes, it is.
Yes. I was excited when I saw it.
Okay, let's get another one. This one comes from Axeman's Projects. When creating blueprints in either Illustrator or Inkscape, I typically scale the reference image to the right size before I trace. Once I've created the drawing, it would be nice to create a dimensioned drawing. Have you found a plugin for either package to create the dimension lines? And I know exactly what you mean, Axeman. I really do wish they had an easy way to add dimension lines to an Inkscape, especially because I use that the most. Which is why all my blueprints don't have dimension lines on them. You can add arrows to the ends of your line segments in Inkscape. So if I'm feeling really ambitious, I'll add an arrow to either side and add a line to either side, and then text in the middle to make my own dimension lines. But it's really kludgy. It's really inelegant.
Do they have a ruler tool now?
They have a ruler, but the ruler just tells you how long something is. It doesn't add those dimensions.
That's no good.
That sort of functionality is really what CAD software is for. AutoCAD. What was the one? I don't know. There's a lot of different AutoCAD software. Fusion 360. It's that weird step between doing illustration work in a vector program like Illustrator or Inkscape and doing drafting, which is what CAD software is really designed for. So unfortunately, you're going to have to make that step. Actually, I don't know if they have it or not. Maybe look into SketchUp. I can't remember if I did. I don't think I tried to do dimensions in SketchUp, but that's probably a better step too. I don't know. There's a lot of software for you to try out. Okay. Thank you, Axeman's Projects. Next question comes from Cass. Cass Z, or Zed, if I'm sneaky zebra. How do you properly seal foam before you paint, and with what? Also, how flexible is it after it's painted? I'm making a belt for my Nami costume, and I'm afraid of breaking it when putting it on. That is a good thing to be afraid of. Mm-hmm. Now, I've made armor, and I sealed it with Epsilon, which is an epoxy resin, and it's really great, but it's brittle. And it will snap, like if you make a belt. But again, this armor was not sealed. All we did was put contact cement on it and paint. Using those leather paints, those Angelus acrylic leather paints that are flexible, made it so that this isn't going to crack or anything. So the paint that you use, now not all paints are created equal. The Tamiya paints don't flex as well as the leather paints. They're designed to be flexible. Other good flexible sealants are things like Plasti Dip is pretty good, but the rubber, silicone rubber, or not silicone, latex rubber that I use on this axe is the best.
Someone got beer on my armor.
Someone did. I don't know who that could be. This is sealed in latex rubber, and you can just bend it in half, and it is totally okay.
Yeah.
The finish on it won't break at all. And the paints that we used are those leather paints that are mixed in with the latex. So there you go. If you want the very best, in my opinion, the most durable, flexible finish, then latex rubber is your best bet.
For my She-Ra armor, I did all Plasti Dip, and that worked really well too. If it does bend so far that it wrinkles, the wrinkles would kind of smooth out. But it takes a ton of layers. So on my monk armor, I tried the little bit of Mod Podge and then Plasti Dip on top. That made it so I only needed like 2 coats of Plasti Dip. It was awesome, except if it does like bend so far that it gets a wrinkle, the wrinkle will stay there.
Yeah.
So that was a bummer.
But if it's supposed to look like leather, then that's maybe not the end of the world.
Yeah, it could be. You could do that on purpose.
Yeah.
But most of this stuff is so thick it doesn't want to bend. But I had some like thin boot parts that now have wrinkles on them.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mod Podge saved a lot of time and material, but it made it so the flexibility wasn't there.
The other thing too, when you're designing your different pieces of armor, designing them so that they come apart in places so that they won't bend while you're wearing it is pretty key too. Sometimes it's hard to do that with whatever costume you're trying to do. But that's what I always try and make it so that you don't have to bend it. A belt, you're kind of out of luck.
Although this is a flat piece, the one I'm wearing now. It flattens.
I will say too, no matter how you seal all of your armor, a good option for your belt would be to not seal it at all. Just paint it with the Angelus paints that we were talking about. We'll link to those in the description, but I believe it's angelusdirect.com. But the belt, you can just paint it, and that'll stay nice and flexible. You don't have to worry too much about sealing it. Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Cass Z. Let's see here. Another one from Isla. What process is easier for beginners to use? A 2-part box mold or a matrix mold? I would start with a 1-part mold, personally. Mm-hmm. Basically, if I was going to mold this guy, maybe this isn't a perfect example. This is a really complicated thing. Oh, Britt's got one right there. So this is a 1-part mold, and the piece that this was made out of, Britt's going to grab it. It looked like that. So that's the piece that we molded, and the back side we don't care about.
I don't care about this thing.
So basically, I just glued the back side that we don't care about. I glued it down. I put a cup around it with a hole on the top, and I just poured silicone in. And that created the 1-part mold. So now when I pour resin in here, I can pop out copies that look exactly like it, just like that. So that's a 1-part mold.
I would go with, if you already know how to do 1-part mold, don't do the matrix mold yet. Oh, that's not a 2-part mold.
No, but then a 2-part mold is like the next step up, a box mold.
There you go.
And for most of these things, just start small. Just build. This is a fairly small. You could go even smaller. Yeah. But that's a 2-part mold where we had the piece embedded. We embedded it in clay, poured silicone on one side, flipped it over, removed the clay, poured silicone on that side after spraying mold release.
Mold release.
But that's a 2-part mold. You may want to do a brush up mold before you try doing a matrix mold too. Brush up molds are a little easier, and if you have more time,
is that like for a mask?
Or less time, you can do them. Yeah, like the Dragon Priest mask that we did was a brush up mold. Yeah. Basically, you have the piece you want to mold, and you brush silicone on it, and then you add some sort of jacket mold outside of that. The matrix mold, I would only really feel comfortable doing that after you've really gotten comfortable using epoxies and fiberglass and silicone and getting really good at claying up pieces. But once you do get to that point, you can make some really, really nice molds that way. But yeah, I'm glad to see that you're excited about trying some more mold making.
Yeah, I want to try some more mold making.
Yes.
I've had lots of help from you, but I need more practice.
Yeah, and the next 3D printing video we do will we'll be making a mold. We'll do a 2-part mold on that.
Sweet.
Okay, another question. This one comes from Hey Patch. How do you get your foam super smooth? I sanded some of mine and it got all bubbly like an old sweater. Is there a trick to not doing that in the first place or making it smooth after that? It depends on like the surfaces that need to be smooth. I try and keep those untouched as much as possible. If you have to sculpt it or like the edges on this, I rounded those over using a stone bit on my rotary tool. It's a little more gentle than the sanding bit, so it smooths it over really well. Ted likes to use a variety of grits of sandpaper and a blowtorch. So you get those fuzzy bits on your foam. You could burn them off and then seal it. You can also do the same with a heat gun.
I used some, what was it, L200 foam, the really soft kind. I had a lot of trouble. That's what my Vex gun was made out of, my Vex Goblin's gun. We just had some of it left over, so I sandwiched a bunch of it together, and it got all frayed and weird, and it was harder to sand down because it's so soft. Yeah,
you can, though, if you're patient, go up to like a 400 grit and just try and knock. Yeah. So do like an 80, do a 200, do like a 400, work your way up in grit to knock some of that fuzziness off, and then hit it with a torch or a heat gun to try and burn off some of that. But a little flame goes a long way.
Yeah, and it does seem like the denser foam you have that less. And keep your knife sharp.
Yep, keep your knife really, really sharp.
Yes.
Good luck. Hey Patch. This one comes from our buddy Core Geek Props. He's got some advice with the scroll saw. He says, if you have a variable speed scroll saw, I do, he says try slowing down the blade. So how fast it oscillates can make a difference too. Yeah. Yep, definitely. Definitely for sure. Be really, really comfortable and familiar with the tools that you use too. Lots of practice. A little practice goes a long way, and a lot of practice goes a lot longer of a way. Oh, Jackie Craft wants to know if we got our black Worbla. And if so, I hope you have some fun plans. I don't have any plans yet, but we did get our black Worbla. Hooray! And it's like black like the center of the Milky Way galaxy.
Yes, thank you. This is gonna be awesome. I still have normal Worbla, so I immediately held them up next to each other, and you
smells like nothing.
You can really tell the difference. I mean, I'm sure regular Worbla has more of a strength to it because it has that fiber to it, but this has like none of the fiber. It's just looks like a roll of plastic.
Yep, we haven't planned on what we want to make it into yet, but we'll have to come up with something fun.
We have a cute idea that I want to do.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Do I know this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk about this later.
About you being silly.
Okay. This next one comes from Ryan. I noticed that in some of your armor you use the rubber cement oil paint naphtha mixture for a flexible paint. I didn't end up going with that. It is really, really great, but I just couldn't get my ratio figured out in time for what we had to do, so I abandoned it. But Frank Ippolito is the guy to talk to about rubber cement paint. He says, what are your methods for doing this? Latex, then rubber cement, or whatever, or spray it. What are the pros and cons? I had trouble with spraying it. I couldn't get the mixture ratio right, and it was actually coming out kind of chalky. I'll have to play with that more. But it comes down to a ratio of oil paint or whatever your pigment is, rubber cement, and then naphtha to thin it enough that you can spray it. And I just didn't get that down. I did see a really great video on YouTube. Could you write that down? It was a Star Wars mask, rubber cement paint. Something like that. If you look it up on YouTube, you'll probably find it.
Also, don't breathe in naphtha, apparently.
Oh.
It was like the first video we looked up. They're like, also, just wear
super
everything.
Toxic, yeah.
It's so, I'm guessing it's hard to find in other countries.
Right. So, anyway, yeah, go look up that video. It's this woman does a really great job of explaining rubber cement paint.
Cool. Eric says he's been trying out that TNT Cosplay Supplies website's foam.
Yeah, we got a hold of them, and we're gonna get our paws on some of their sweet foam.
Yeah.
I did get some of their samples, and it looks great. It's like it's like the equivalency of L300 or L400.
Yeah.
It's a little sturdier.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Which is pretty nice.
I think we builded some rough price estimates, and where we get our floor mats, I think it's still a little more affordable, but to just not deal with the texture and to have that nice density, I think. Mm-hmm. And bigger pieces too, I think.
Yeah, getting the big sheets without any texture on it is pretty sweet.
I'd pay a little more for that.
All right. Venger wants to know, or Venger, what are your thoughts on using polyurethane to seal foam props? You could totally do that. Mm-hmm. In fact, we bought some, we haven't used it yet. There's a UreCoat, which is a urethane sealant for foam that Smooth On makes. But I've used just like urethane plastics, like Smooth Cast, and it does a respectable job. Just like the Epsilon, though, it becomes rigid and will crack if it flexes too much. So if you're going to use it, put on a big thick coat of it or several coats of it and sand it down to your nice smooth finish, and then don't flex it because it will crack.
Did I put that in insulation foam, didn't I? Or is that bad?
Urethane's fine for insulation foam.
Yeah, it was way back when we did our Mass Effect costumes. My Phantom shoulders, I did insulation foam and then skinned them in urethane to smooth them out. And that worked really well. I think the goal was because I want to put Bondo on top of it or something bad for the insulation foam.
Right. So it created a protective barrier.
Yes. That was long ago.
That was many moons ago. Cool. There you go, Vendor. You can totally use urethanes on foam. For props, it might be a good idea because it's not going to flex at all, or it shouldn't anyway. Let's grab another one. This one comes from Darth Gaming, which is a fantastic name. I want to make some Mandalorian armor out of foam for the new movie release. Any suggestions? I believe I already have some of the templates, but they probably have to be sized to me. They do probably have to be sized because we are all different sizes and shapes. I do know the Mandalorian Mercs is a group of people who do costumes. Mandalorian Mercs. I hope I spelled Mandalorian wrong. They're a costuming group. I know they usually don't use foam, but you might go over to the mandalorianmercs.org and check out what they've got going on.
Yeah, they I think they specifically call out because they have a certain look they're going for. Mm-hmm. So they like their hard surfaces, but they might have templates that would be
help you size it,
and you could transfer it to foam.
And then there's the Dented Helmet. So that's a Boba Fett group. So look up the dentedhelmet.com. So there's another good reference for you. So anything Mandalorian or Boba Fett, those are a couple good places for you to go look. The Dented Helmet and Mandalorian Mercs.
Yeah, and I would suggest making your first pieces out of scrap foam, like if you have any old floor mats, and then using those as new templates. Yep. Just so you don't waste all your good foam.
Oh yeah.
Because sizing armor is hard.
Cool. Let's see here. That last one was from Darth Gaming. Thank you very much. This next one comes from Hey Patch. Glad you had fun at BlizzCon. I almost got my first commission, but it's hard to price one's work. I get this question all the time. In fact, I answered someone today. He says he thinks he scared the person away. Do you have any tips for not doing that? So here's the thing. I have gotten thousands of commission emails. Just over the years. I've been doing this a long time. At some points I was getting like a dozen a day commission emails. Most of them aren't going to work out. They just aren't. The price you can give someone that will adequately cover your time and materials is a lot higher than any manufactured good that you can get, right? It's just that's the nature of the beast. You are building a prototype. It's going to take way longer to build it than most people are used to paying for. So most of the commission emails you get will not pan out.
Yes.
I would say for me, less than like 0.1% of the emails just panned out. that being said, you have to figure out what your time is worth, and it takes you a lot of practice to do that. A lot of accepting commissions, following through on them, getting paid, doing the math, realizing how much you made per hour, and then deciding if that was enough or not. Usually it's not. Usually, and even now, sometimes I still underprice myself because I just don't count on things taking as long as they usually do. So just do it a lot. Accept a lot of commissions. And if they don't pan out, if you accidentally scare people away, that's fine. Just keep plugging away at it and you'll get better at it.
Yeah. I think a great thing that I've seen people do is they make something they really like, but also people want. And then they put it up for sale and people can see the price and then they can buy it and then they'll leave you alone. So instead of doing a custom commission where people say like, hey, I want this. Oh, I don't want to pay for that. They can go see like your Borderlands mask that you're selling and then buy a copy of it.
Yeah.
But you'd want to also pick something that you think that you enjoy making and that you think people would want.
Yep. I like to use things like this. This is a freelance hourly rate calculator. And even if you don't necessarily use this, it's good to look at what goes into figuring out hourly rates. So for example, the first thing that this person asks you to do is to figure out your preferred lifestyle. How many days per week do you work? How many hours do you work per day? So if you're working on your prop commissions on the side, say I can work 5 days a week and I can work 2 hours each day. And then that goes into the calculator. So it's not just saying how much your time is worth, it's figuring out how you spend that time too, because the less time you spend, the less billable hours you have to work on commissions, the more valuable those billable hours are. For me, I can't spend all of every single day working on commissions. I have tons of other stuff to do. I have to check my emails. I have to do my videos. I have to do social media stuff. I have to plan for conventions. Like all of those things eat into my billable hours, which makes those hours where I'm spending building something for someone else, it makes those hours a lot more valuable. So go just look up freelance hourly rate calculator if you want to go dive deeper into that.
In the chat, was it Battle Damage? Did a YouTube video stuff on making Mandalorian foam armor. So that's
perfect.
Convenient. I grabbed the link. I'll put it in the show notes.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
That's awesome. Thank you. There you go. Hey, Patch. Good luck with your commissioning stuff. Let's see here. This one's from Danielle. I'm working on making a gun from Destiny. Hooray!
As everyone should.
I'm having an issue scaling it properly. How would you suggest scaling it using just my home PC and printer? Any free programs I can that can help? I use Photoshop, but GIMP is a free alternative to Photoshop. Actually, if I can bring this up real quick, I have an image that I like to use. General reference. Is that it? I think that's it. Yes, this is it right here. So I have an airsoft gun that's a Glock. It's a basic sort of, let's add, yeah, there's a camera.
Hello.
Media file. I'm just trying to add a thing real fast here. It's an airsoft gun, but it's sized appropriately like a real gun. Why can't I find this? There it is. There it is. And there it is. Okay. There we go. So this is the picture that I use. I'll have to link this somewhere so people can grab it. And it's a Glock, and it's next to a ruler, and the ruler is right up next to it. It's like really close to it. This image file I'll dump into Photoshop, and then I'll put the reference image in a layer on top of it. Again, you can use GIMP if you want. It's any image editing software with layers. Then I can scale the image on top of it until the handle basically fits my hand. And then I roughly know how big it should be. There's a ruler in the image, so I'll even copy and paste that ruler to like measure in Photoshop. And then I know roughly what the size of it should be. But that way I know for sure it will look appropriate in my hand.
And when you go to print your stuff, make sure it's not scaling it to the paper size. Just change all the settings to be like just print as is, and then paste or tape the pieces of paper back together. So it'll probably be more than one.
Yeah, or what I like to do is if it's printed out bigger than a letter size sheet, I'll go get it printed at Staples.
Yeah,
get it full size printed. And you can do that too. Like I have that image right there, and I'll share that. I'll put it up online somewhere for you guys, if someone reminds me. But you can just make that yourself. If you have a toy gun that's sized the right way, you can just take a photo with your hand in it next to a ruler and then use that as your own reference. That way you know it'll fit in your hand.
Yeah.
But I have a pretty averagely sized hand. Okay, thank you, Danielle. This one comes from Jonathan. Let's see here. It looks like you got a 3D printer. What do you think of it? Would you recommend it? I'm thinking about getting one soon. What do you think of the Dremel? We have the Dremel 3D printer.
It's our first 3D printer, and it's magical.
Yep.
It's we bought it from Home Depot and took it home and plugged it in, and it already had models, example models on it, and we just hit print, and it printed out perfectly. So that was handy. Yeah,
it's very plug and play. If you're very new to 3D printing, then it's a great option. It's you pay for that ease of use. It's about $1,000 right off the shelf.
It's what, PLA?
Yeah, but it only prints PLA.
It's a one extruder thing,
but it's ease of use. It's a great entry level printer if you have the money to throw at it. You don't have to put it together. And I know I have friends who've gotten 3D printers, like Kickstarter ones. They get a box of parts and then they spend a month putting it together, and then they spend a month troubleshooting it to make it work. So, do you want to do that on a printer that's a little cheaper, or do you want to get one that works right out of the box? That's up to you. I was pretty stoked for our first 3D printer to get one that we literally plugged into the wall, leveled the bed, and then printed something.
Yes. That said, I do want more now.
Yeah, I do want to experiment with a lot more options that are out there.
But it's a good first 3D printer, I think.
Yeah. Also, if we have two, then we can print two things at the same time.
They can race.
Yeah. All right. There you go, Jonathan. Next one here comes from Neil. Neil wants to know, hey, can you please make a tutorial on how to make an Elder Scroll or a steel sword from Skyrim? I already made an Elder Scroll, and unfortunately, I don't think I took a lot of reference pictures. I'll have to double check. It was right before Dragon Con.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
No, you didn't take any reference pictures, I don't think.
Let's see here. That would be Skyrim. Elder Scroll. I've got it. And I took about 10 pictures, and mostly they're done. So I won't be building another Elder Scroll, unfortunately. So I can't. I don't really have the flexibility to do that. A steel sword. I don't have a plan to build one of those right now, but my buddy, I think Steven did one. Or my buddy Steven over at Solo Roboto. Let's just double check that. He did one, so you may be able to go see how he put his together, or go ask him if you have any specific questions about the steel sword. Let's see. I think that's this guy right here. Let's go share that. Yeah. That big old sword right there, he did. And so if you have any questions about that, then he'd be the guy to ask.
What's the Fulken guy's name?
Fulkenstall.
Fulkenstall. I think they did an Elder Scroll.
Fulkenstall Armory. You can look these guys up too.
I think they've done a lot of Skyrim work.
They have done a lot of Skyrim work. So here you can see a bunch of stuff. Projects below. Oh yeah, there's an Elder Scroll.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's really good.
Yeah, so look up Fulkenstall Armory on Facebook. I think they have a Facebook page if you have specific questions about the Elder Scroll. So there you go. I can't help you, but there are some other people who might be able to help you. So good luck with that. Avatar linked to thing.
He's making a thing.
Let's see here. Oh, this is Mandalorian armor, I think.
It's awesome armor.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
That's awesome. It always feels good to start putting pieces on.
Or is that Republic Commandos, I think? Yeah.
Sweet.
It's cool stuff.
Awesome.
Thank you for sharing. All right. Next one comes from Battle Damage. Question is, what is your preferred glue for pepakura? Hey, it's great. We just did a pepakura video. You guys could go check it out. We did those masks. I don't know where they are, but we did paper masks from Destiny. I like super glue because it dries really, really fast, but I end up getting super glue fingers.
I learned that you can wear rubber gloves that fit well, like ones that fit really well to your hands, and that helps a lot.
It sure does.
With super glue.
But you used like Elmer's glue for yours.
Yeah, Elmer's glue works surprisingly well because it soaks in, but it doesn't. You have to hold it for a couple seconds. And with super glue, if you get the accelerant, you can just work right along.
Yeah.
The Elmer's glue was nice when I was doing temporary pepakura on top of foam. So I used the paper and then glued it down and then cut out my pieces. And to remove the paper, I just got it wet, and the water soluble glue just made it peel right off. But I think if I was doing it on my own, I'd do super glue with gloves.
There you go.
Yes. And super glue remover. Keep that nearby.
Yeah, so we have the accelerant, the spray accelerant, the super glue, and the super glue remover right there. I can see it right there.
They call it an uncure, I think, the remover. Yeah.
Let's see. Avatar says that's the Senate Guard from the Star Wars Clone Wars.
Sweet.
Yes. Developing cosplay linked to thing too. Oh, this is Sanet's thing here.
Yeah, he's making his own Titan armor, right? His own design. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Awesome. Spicy Tie design if you haven't already gone and checked out his stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's grab some more questions. We got about 10 minutes left. You guys are bringing great questions today. Really awesome stuff. We should start every day with a giveaway and just get everyone fired up.
Yeah. Thanks for all the great questions.
Let's see. This is from Jermazing Productions. Rattle can painting question. After a base coat of black is applied, should I wait the ... or after 48 hours listed on the can before masking and applying the next color? Whatever the can says, then totally do it. If it's enamel paints, then it's going to take forever. Not forever. It's not oil paints, but it's going to take a long time to dry. I like, if I'm going to use rattle can, which I'm using less and less lately, I like Krylon Fusion because you can mask that after like 15 minutes, especially if it's warm and dry where you are, you can mask that pretty quickly. I
do notice that a lot of primers, the base layers, have that wording though, where it's like, like every 15 minutes or so, spray another layer if you need more than one, and then leave it alone for a while, because if you sand it too early, you get a lot of that like pilling on your sandpaper more than usual, and it almost feels like gummy sometimes. So I would wait.
Whatever the can says to do, then do it. A lot of the times it really focuses on coating. So it'll say do it within an hour or wait 24 hours. There's a window of time when you don't want to touch it. You just leave it alone.
Yeah.
This is frog tape. This is like a delicate surfaces frog tape for masking. So if you are worried that you may lift the paint off, again, spending the coin on some better tape can help out a whole bunch. So there, you got some options.
And if it's in a warmer environment, it'll cure or dry faster. Yeah. So don't keep your stuff in the cold. Especially your spray paint cans. Actually, in Harrison's book, if you go to punishprops.com and go to the shop, you can buy the Vulcan Props Guide to Painting. He recommends even warming up your spray paint cans by putting them in a bucket of warm water. But read the guide, read the book first, so you don't blow up your cans of paint, which is always a worry of mine, blowing up paint. Let's see here. This one comes from Squibby. Hi, Bill. I'm 3D printing some masks that I will later mold and cast, but I was having issues scaling them to fit an average person. How would you go about scaling the headpiece in 3D? Oh, this sounds familiar. For our Dragon Priest mask that we have, this was long before I had a 3D printer. We did that like 2 winters ago, I think. I 3D modeled it, and I wanted to get it sent away to Shapeways to print it for me. And since that's a kind of an expensive process, the print quality is awesome on it. But to make sure I got it right on the first try, I transferred my model into Pepakura Designer and then printed it out. And I did kind of like a quick mock-up of it. So I didn't make it look like glue it together all perfectly and cut out everything perfectly. I just roughly did it all and held it up to my face. And it was 20% too big. And so that was good because the print got a lot cheaper making it smaller. And then I got the right size after that. So even if you don't use Pepakura for final projects, for templates, for 3D sizing, that worked really well. So yeah.
Yes, for sure. Scaling stuff that you do in a 3D model is always tricky, especially if you go between applications.
Mm-hmm.
So today I was modeling something. I modeled it. I drew it in Inkscape to scale, perfectly to scale, dumped that into 123D Design, and it was 3.4 times too big, which is what we had to figure out. Yeah, I had to rescale it again in the different program.
Wouldn't the nice,
I know how to talk to
the nice and frustrating thing about Pepakura Designer is it doesn't have a size when you import it, really. It's when you go to unwrap it, it asks you how big it is. So what I like to do is take the height of my 3D model, like the exact height, like from the front view of whatever 3D program you're working in, get that exact number. And it's usually, I think Pepakura Designer uses millimeters. So you take that millimeter amount and just type it in when you go to unwrap your file in Pepakura Designer, and it'll make it the exact same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Scale is everything.
Sometimes it's how you use the program.
Yes. Not the size that matters. Hey, it's Kiwi's got a question. One of our regulars from way back. BlizzCon always seems to have a super high standard of cosplay. What, in your opinion, is the con with the highest quality costumes and cosplay? BlizzCon is up there. There's something about the Blizzard really makes games that people like geek out about.
Yeah, that they obsess about for years.
There is a high level of obsession there, and I think that translates to cosplayers who really, really love it, and they want to recreate those costumes the best they can.
And they'll fly from the other side of the world and put their costume in a giant cardboard box just to get it to BlizzCon to wear. So they're not necessarily from the US. They're from all over the place.
So it's either BlizzCon or DragonCon. Now, DragonCon does have some really crazy high level of cosplay. It's not as consistent. What's more consistent at DragonCon are the clever costumes, the funny ones. But what you see as funny costumes that are also really, really well made.
Yeah. Yeah, those ones blow my mind. They're so cool.
Yes. They're like, oh, it's like making the best looking costume isn't enough at DragonCon.
You also have to do a very specific moment that character is going through in an awesome way.
Oh, yeah. For sure. It's worth go to both.
I'll watch videos from both.
Sure, that sounds good.
That's our life.
Thank you. It's Kiwi. We have time for just a couple more here. We'll jump through as many of them as we can before we get out of your hair. Another one from Venger. As far as pursuing product making as a business is concerned, do you think it's better to dabble in all genres and media references like Star Wars or anime, or to focus on a few specific games or shows?
Depends on if you want to get typecast.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I would say being known as the guy that does that thing is probably a faster way to get your name out there more. So I did Mass Effect stuff for a long time. I was kind of like Mr. Mass Effect Pistol for a while. And that meant that you had access to a fan base that's feral about getting Mass Effect stuff. But again, you kind of get the fan base that you deserve. If that's a community you want to be a part of, you can provide them with your work. Yeah.
Just make sure you pick things you also enjoy making.
Exactly.
So if you're really into anime and love making anime weapons, then maybe stick in that area.
Yeah, it's not, and in the long run too, just make sure you have an end game in mind. Don't just make giant anime swords because you know people will flock to that if you hate making anime swords. You know, pick stuff that you really love. Pick stuff that you can do. You know, you'll still enjoy making in a long time. But also, feel free to branch out too. surprise people and make something from I don't know, Sesame Street or something. Just branch out.
That's what Blind Squirrel Props does, but he just does everything for fun. He picks weird, crazy things that he loves. I like to make stuff. Bob is in the chat.
Bob's in the chat. Hooray!
Thanks for joining our fun cosplay community. They're sharing their YouTube channels, which is awesome.
Here we go. Hey, Pat says, you guys are the catalyst for making me finally start making YouTube videos. Yay! Actually, our buddy Jessica Negri just did a build video for her amazing costume. I didn't get to see it in person. What was it?
Deathwing.
The Deathwing costume. She mostly made it out of EVA foam. Hooray!
Yeah, and she where she needed it, she added Worbla. She did really good mixed media stuff. It turned out really well.
So more and more people are making tutorial helpful build video content.
Because Jessica Negri's always made great costumes, but she hasn't recorded the process. So it's really neat to see how she works. In the dark, apparently.
Yes, totally. That's a great place to end it, you guys. A bunch of really, really good questions. Congratulations to our winner. I emailed you, and we'll send you your BlizzCon bag here pretty soon. I do want to remind everyone, we haven't done this in a while, but we do have a Patreon for this show. And if you want to support what we do, again, the show is always free. We do it just about every week, and we have cool guests on pretty frequently. You don't have to, but if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/punishedprops and help us out a little bit. All of what you guys give us there help us make the show better. Help us upgrade, help me clean this poor computer over here that's whining at me because it's probably full of dust. But every little bit that you guys chuck at us helps us make the show better. And thank you for everyone who have supported us for so long.
Thank you.
Yeah. But that's it for this week. We'll definitely have a show next week, I'm pretty sure. We'll see if we can grab one of our super cool costume and prop making friends for that one. But it's been great as always, to hang out with my lovely wife and to hang out with you wonderful folks here on Prop Live. And we will see you all next week. Bye.